Well, this week, our nation pauses to remember one of the darkest days in American history, September 11th, 2001.
It's been 24 years, and the 9/11 Remembrance Foundation of South Carolina continues its sacred mission to honor the nearly 3,000 innocent lives lost that day, but the brave first responders who ran toward danger, and the men and the women in uniform who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service since then.
And right here in the capital city, the 24th anniversary 9/11 Morning of Remembrance ceremony will be held at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center, and it will pay tribute to those heroes and ensure that we keep the promise to always remember and never forget.
Joining us now, we have David Kerr, who's the Director of Operations for the 9/11 Remembrance Foundation of South Carolina, and Chief Mike Sonfield to talk about this year's powerful and impactful ceremony and how events like Tunnel to Towers Run connect us to this ongoing mission and this remembrance service. Thank you both so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
So David, I'd like to start with you. Obviously 24 years have passed since 9/11, but it goes without saying that the mission is stronger than ever. What does this year's Morning of Remembrance mean for our community?
I think for us, we try to come up with a theme every year, and I think this year our theme that we really talked about was bringing it home to the capital city, to where we are, to the Midlands, to those people that we serve here and the sacrifice that our responders here make. You know, we talked about 9/11 for a lot of years following the tragic events. And we really need to now continue to remember and bring it home and bring the message home of resilience to the Midlands.
Yeah, absolutely. And honoring the first responders, including Chief Chad Thatcher, firefighter Landon Body, who lost their lives during Hurricane Helene, responding to those emergency calls, and also Trooper Dennis Ricks, along with K-9 heroes and their handlers. Chief, what does it mean to bring their stories forward in this ceremony? How important it is to their family members as well?
It's a very good feeling for the family to kind of, it doesn't put things to rest, but it allows their first responder, their loved one, to be honored in the way they should be. And that's in granite, and that's forever, and it's not going to change. You can see it for generations, and that's what is very helpful when you're there with other families. There'll be 64, I think, total on the wall this year. So there's 64 families that have lost someone. And a lot of them return because it is good to be with people that are like you.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned that wall, David, the 9/11 Remembrance Memorial here in Columbia is such a unique place of honor. Can you talk a little bit for those who aren't familiar about what it represents and particularly what it means to the families and the public?
Well, like Mike said, it talks about and just it's about the families, the names of the first responders, military service members that are on the memorial. It's been something that we've grown through the years. You know, it started with just the two towers where we were etching names in, and then several years ago we did a wall of remembrance. So now we actually put a picture with the department's insignia on it and the picture of the fallen hero on the wall of remembrance. And then, as you probably know also, Richland County, when they lost Fargo, we decided at that point that we wanted to memorialize all those K-9 partners that support and keep our law enforcement responders safe. So unfortunately this year we've got, like you said, Chad and Landon, but we also have two Richland County K-9 deputies who are also going to be honored this year.
And Chief, you served along first responders who carry the weight of that day and the sacrifices made since. How does events like these and these conversations help when it comes to the healing process, but also educating the next generation to remember why they serve?
It's different depending on how old you are. If you were here for 9/11, you saw such a large number of first responders give their lives. And this is our way for the public to understand that isn't always the way first responders and military lose their lives. It's one at a time, and it's in the middle of the night by themselves, those kind of things. It's important to be with members of that same community. It brings out a lot of rawness. 9/11 still, for people of a certain age, means something completely different than those that are maybe graduating college right now that didn't experience that. They were too young.
Yeah.
And you know what, that brings me a great segue to my next question, because I think for those who watched those events play out, I mean, I cannot imagine what people who were in New York City. I mean, still think about the song that played continuously on TV and the images of people looking for their loved ones. But even as those of us, you know, in other places around the country, we remember exactly where we were.
Yeah.
Why is it important for the younger generation who may not remember seeing it in real time, but even community leaders and other people who may not have been directly impacted, to come to an event like this to take time to honor those sacrifices?
Because we got where we are today through what our ancestors did, what the people who came before us did, you know, saving lives, being part of the community. And I think that's so important that we don't let the youth of America today forget that.
Yes.
You know, that every good thing that's come in life has come because someone has fought for it and someone has worked for it and someone has been there for others.
Yeah.
And that's where we feel honored to be doing this every year. It's really a labor of love for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always
an
such
honor.
a beautiful ceremony. We thank you both for all that you invest in making sure that this commemoration lives here in the capital city. And then, of course, for people who can't make it out Thursday morning, we have the Tunnel to Towers run on Friday. But we want to share details about Thursday morning because, you know what? This could be an assignment for your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get permission from the teachers for them to come a little bit late and write an essay about being at this ceremony, the tributes that they hear, and what this whole event means, particularly here in the capital city and in South Carolina. But it is Thursday, September 11th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. The prelude begins at 8 a.m. The program will start at 8:40 a.m.
Yeah, and you know, the perfect segue to end. The words etched in the foundation's mission say it best. We remember and we will never forget. The 24th anniversary of 9/11, the morning of remembrance, is free and is open to the public this Thursday morning at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. You can also watch it live on Facebook at SC Remembers 9/11. And again, the Tunnel to Towers run, keeping the legacy alive by honoring courage, sacrifice, and resilience.
Yep, that'll be Friday night at 6 p.m. Thank you both
Thank you.
for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.